Hey everyone, welcome to our first episode of 2025.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
2025. Yay.
Thanks for joining us in the book barn today. I'm Laisha.
And I'm Lainey.
And we have a special guest with us today. We have Melissa. Melissa, we're so excited that you're here.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming twice.
Oh, I feel so bad. Twice. We had a little bit of some technical difficulties earlier because we have some new equipment, but she was a sweetheart and came back so we could do this right.
So let's hear it for Melissa.
Yay, Melissa.
Yay!
It's fun to be here. I don't mind at all. I got an extra, hour to sew in the car with my audiobook. So
very good.
You're just supporting a local gal's habits here.
So Melissa is a member of our Book Barn Book Club Facebook group. I also work with Melissa, and I've taught her boys.
I've known Melissa for a while too. Thank you again for coming. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a busy mom of 3 boys. My husband and I have been together for 20 years. We are high school sweethearts, and we have Tristan, Dexter, and Max, who are 16, 12, and 9. We keep really busy because we are a wrestling family. And so if you're looking for us, we're definitely on some wrestling mats somewhere doing our best. And so I like to read, I like to cook, and I like to work out. So we lift, we go to jujitsu, which is definitely my husband's favorite thing, and I just kind of tag along and enjoy the ride.
That's awesome. And you said you like to read. Can you tell us who your favorite authors or what your favorite books are?
I have a lot of favorites. And depending on the genre, I think that changes a lot. But a book that I've really been drawn to is the Outlander series. And so I've been reading the Outlander series for a bit. I'm not done with the series. Right now I'm on book 7. I think I've been taking breaks on and off to, read other texts, and then I come back to it. It's kind of one of those comforts of, what am I going to read next? Oh yeah, I can go back and do the Outlander book. So
I like those books. I got stuck on book 4.
Yeah, I also got stuck on book 4. But the audiobook might be something that can help you get through that if you're looking to, because I kept falling asleep at the same part over and over, and I just couldn't get through it. And so our friend Jessica let me borrow her Audible, and I got through book 4 and book 5, which are 44-hour long audiobooks.
That's
so
crazy.
It was a commitment for sure, and it's a really good one. So if you're ever looking for an audiobook, Outlander's a great one. The reader's phenomenal on that. So
awesome.
And so today we are talking about two books. We have some nonfiction.
Yes.
We decided we would try some for the new year.
Happy New Year!
And you have a book, Melissa, that you read that you wanted to share with us. We want to hear all about it. Lainey's had a little bit of exposure with it too.
I have, thanks to Melissa. She told me about the book, The Anxious Generation by
Jonathan Haidt.
Tell us all about that book.
Sure. I initially saw it on some TikTok or Instagram reels, and my husband had been sending them, and we were really drawn into what he was saying, and it was the actual author who was doing it. And so, I don't know, maybe about 6 months or so after seeing that first reel, we kept seeing it more often. And so I got it from our local library, and its front cover says how the great rewiring of childhood is causing an epidemic of mental illness. And it sounds like it's going to be really heavy, and it is. It looks at a lot of self-reflection and how long has this been happening, because I really noticed the difference within, the last 5 to 10 years. I'm excited to talk about it. I hope everyone reads it. It's been really beneficial for me as a mom, me as a teacher, but also just self-reflection. It talks about how posting a picture on social media makes you wait for that ding to see, oh, somebody liked it. Did they like it? Or, you like all of these fitness pages and you're like, why doesn't my body look like their body? I'm doing the same work that they're doing. It causes some anxiousness, comparison.
A lot of comparison.
A lot of comparison. That's the word I'm looking for. So,
And you told me that you gave the book to your husband and he read it as well.
yeah. I actually read the library copy. So all of my notes and notations are handwritten on a piece of paper, which I got made fun of at my house for it. But I actually bought the book on Amazon because, for one, I want to own it. And number two, I want to support this author. And so he read it again by the end of the summer. And we're just trying to make sure that we are always trying to be our best selves. I'm definitely not an expert on it, but I'm trying, and I'm always a work in progress. So everyone says we can see the change in kids. We can see the change in our children, but we don't know how to fix it. And so this book actually gives you solutions. It says if everyone would just do these 4 things, we would see a difference in our kids in 2 years.
So tell us, what kind of changes has your family made?
A lot of it is me. As a mom, I am really just on top of my kids all the time. I want to tell them what to do and how to do it. And I don't really feel comfortable with my kids being out of my sight. But they're not toddlers anymore. They are smart, functioning kids who have been, raised to our best ability at this time. And I just need to allow them some freedom to see that. And so something I did whenever I was reading it is I had a separate page that just said mom homework, something I read that spoke to me that maybe I needed to work on. Kind of silly, but I called it my mom homework. And it said the cure for parental anxiety is exposure. And so I think that was something that really spoke to me because I do have anxiousness when it's regarding my kids. And so some of my mom homework is practice letting my kids out of my sight with no way to reach me. That one was hard, but it was actually easier because we moved recently and our new property, our last one was on a busy road with a backyard, but our new one, we've got woods. We've got a little neighborhood that they can go ride their bike around the loop and come back. And that makes me feel a lot more comfortable. The book talks about how sleepovers are okay. I think there's some conflict on people who think sleepovers are great, sleepovers are bad. What do we do? The book was like, sleepovers are okay, as long as they're not sitting on phones at somebody else's house and they're not interacting with people. But I put on here, I just want to have big parties again, like birthday parties. So I want to make sure people are physically coming to the house, have all the family over, have a cookout, have everybody here and interactions in person.
Do you let your kids have phones?
I do. This was something that was difficult because my son will be 17 next month. And so we gave our oldest a phone at 13. Before I read the book. So 4 years ago, we gave him a phone. You can't just take it away.
Well, that's true.
I mean, so it says that there's dozens of suggestions within the book, but the 4 major reforms to see a drastic difference in our children within 2 years would be everyone collectively decided no cell phones before high school, no social media before 16, phone-free schools. And that does not include phones being in your pocket or your locker. That's at home or in your car or in a lockbox that some schools have done. But the book will tell you more about that. And then the 4th thing is more unsupervised play and more childhood independence. So those are the 4 major reforms. So my son, who's almost 17, he's over those ages. He's allowed to have a cell phone. And the book said it's okay if he has social media right now. My younger 2, one just turned 12, and I think we haven't totally discussed it because we've got a year for it, but at 13, that's generally our cell phone birthday. But I think he'll get what's called a dumb phone and not a smartphone. So that way he has access to phone calls and texting, but not the entire internet at his fingertips.
Yeah.
So yeah, some things they've already done. I can't take it back.
Sure.
I can't take it back.
Well, I would read this book now with grown children and think, I've done it all wrong.
Well, and as grandparents, we could read it and it kind of would maybe
That's true.
change how we look at being grandma. Yeah.
It did hurt my feelings a little bit because I started reflecting and being like, oh no, I've done all the wrong things. But then I realized, no, I haven't. We've all looked at each other and said, what phenomenal moms you are. I'm going to make sure that I do this because you have great kids. And so I think it's just moderation and The book doesn't say the phones are terrible, awful, but they're saying, maybe we need to pull back.
Sure.
The book has a really interesting chapter about building the ladder from childhood from adulthood. And my husband and I both really liked this. It was talking about celebrating the even year birthdays with fun little freedoms and new responsibilities that allow children to feel like they're climbing a ladder that's clearly labeled. And so we both really like this. So at age 6, it says to celebrate the age of family responsibility, where kids start to realize that they are important contributors to the household, and you get to give them more chores, and they actually find that exciting that their parents are relying on them to be a member of that household. Age 8 says age of local freedom, where they get to, go on short errands or go on a bike ride by themselves for short periods of time. Age 10 would be the age of roaming. So with good judgment, increasing their mobility and responsibility. So maybe they have a little flip phone if you need them to feel safe about that, but having them to have more freedom to roam, to hang out with their friends in person. Age 12 is my favorite. It's the age of apprenticeship. They get to find maybe adult mentors or role models other than their parents. And maybe that's in an outside sport. Maybe they start to, volunteer at a local animal shelter, or they have an internship at a local mechanic shop, where they learn new skills and get more, things. And then you've got 14 of high school, 16 is internet adulthood, whenever they are allowed to have social media and a driver's license. So it just kind of goes up like that. So I thought that was really neat, and gives them like a rite of passage a little bit, something to look forward to with those birthdays.
Yes. I like that part. And leaving home without a phone for me is scary.
It's hard.
It's hard. And I'm an adult, and we grew up with no phones. And we drove all over the place. But it's just weird now.
I'd go back for it. Like, how far is too far before you turn around and realize?
Right. And probably, my kids didn't have phones until they were in high school, until they were driving age. But my granddaughter has one.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that she can call mom if she is in a, a little bit of a pickle.
They have these like Bark phones that I see that are really heavily monitored, because everyone wants the safety for children. Yes. Nobody is putting them on there going, I hope something dangerous happens.
Right.
It's all with good intentions.
It is.
All with good intentions. So as a boy mom, the chapter on boys really kind of punched me in the gut a little bit. My husband and I, we've always joked, I have a sister, I have girl cousins, we have all these aunts, like I was in this world of girls, and now I've got boys. And he always said, well, that's how you were raised. And I was like, well, that's great. He said, yeah, but you were raised as a girl. He was like, boys are different. And so the chapter on boys kind of broke my heart a little bit, because this is not just talking about people right now. This has been something that's been growing since, the 80s and 90s. And it says, as of 2019, women got 59% of bachelor's degrees. Men got 41%. Overall, boys have lower grades, higher ADHD, unable to read, less likely to graduate high school, and 3 times more likely to be expelled. With the rise of safetyism, boys lost playtime and became over-supervised, so essentially, boys lost more than girls.
That is sad.
It broke my heart. So that was not a direct quote. It was my note-taking that I had, but I remember just thinking, oh no,
my boys,
I know, and I'm always right there telling them what they should do. And hey, this idea is great. And really, they just need to know that I do trust them, and they do have what it takes to make their own decisions. And sometimes that means they make mistakes, and you're supposed to.
You are. That's how you learn.
Exactly. And so I think we just have good intentions as parents and as teachers. We have great intentions. And so I'm trying to find ways that I can be better for those around me. I would really recommend this book for anyone to read, because yes, as a mom and a teacher, this was really powerful for me. but it spoke to me as a 36-year-old woman anyway. I am definitely pulled by my cell phone. I need the opportunity to be bored and sit with my thoughts just as much as the next person.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
And my copy, our superintendent, he provided any staff member that wanted this book a copy of it. And I gave mine to my oldest son because my granddaughter is soon to be 10. So this is an age where these decisions really matter.
They do. They really do.
Yeah. So could you tell us the title and the author again one more time?
The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt.
All right.
I really liked it. I really connected with it, and I devoured it in 3 days.
Wow.
And I'm not a nonfiction reader. I say that as now I've got tons of nonfiction under my belt, but I am historically a romance and love story kind of gal. But really, the last year I've enhanced my genres a little bit. I really kind of like the suspense. I like the historical fiction, and I do like nonfiction as long as it's purposeful for me. I have also started plenty of nonfiction and put them back, saying, never mind, this one was a dull thing.
I thought that both of these books that we're talking about today are good books, but I probably would have enjoyed fiction more.
Yeah. You know, I have read, in my history of reading, probably more nonfiction, but it was always at a time where I wanted to learn more about something, whether it was teaching me to do something or a self-help that I was really interested in working on at that moment. And then we started our book club, and I've read way more fiction than I had in the past. And I love it, and I enjoy it very much. Some memoirs in there too, but they were also more story-like than a self-help, Atomic Habits. That's what we have read this time. And I struggled with it, and I enjoyed the book and I liked the information, but I felt like maybe I thought that it should be relevant just because of the time of year. We're getting ready to start this new year, and okay, I'm going to pick up some really good suggestions for better habits, and maybe I just wasn't into it, which I really did enjoy the book, but
I think it's a great January pick. It really fits the resolutions, and it fits it, but
yeah. Well, I think it does, and I hope that some of our members did read it and did get some takeaways.
I had takeaways for sure. I did, even though it wasn't a page turner.
Right.
I do think there are some things in the book that I will try to incorporate in my life.
So speaking of resolutions.
Yes.
Did either of you do any New Year's resolutions?
I do not do resolutions.
Yeah, I don't either.
No.
I do. I do them with my students, so I always model and write my own resolutions. So I did a learning resolution, one for home, one for the environment, and I also did one for, what's the other topic? Sorry. Learning, home and family, health, and environment.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So my learning goal is reading. I know that our habit is to be a reader. I know that from the book, but I'll still set a reading goal.
It's fun.
It's fun that way. Yes. And we can track that. I want to be physically stronger. I hike, so I don't want to be frail and unable to chase those grandkids. So I want to get physically stronger for my health. Environmentally, maybe less trash, produce less trash to kind of help the environment. So just things like that.
Good.
We'll see.
Yeah. And do you have a system set up to try?
I do not yet, but I know I need a system or it won't happen.
Yeah. So Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he does have some resources that he lets you download to work through some worksheets. And I need to do that because I know that there's some things that I could work on, and just reading through the book, I didn't take enough notes and think enough about how to actually implement these ideas into my life. And so maybe that would help me out. But how about you guys? Did you take advantage of any of those?
I looked him up, I printed them out, and I haven't actually used them, but I'm getting his newsletter every time he sends one out. So I'm
wow.
on the email list, and then Yeah, I got the paperwork that you plus and minus your habits, and then how do you do your habit stacking. And I've actually tried to do it with my boys, and they kind of mock me right now because they listen to the book with me too. And so whenever I say, remember, we're going to habit stack, they're like, oh, Mom, like, we get it. You read a book.
Well, and I think you said this on our earlier time, Melissa. You said that it made you more aware of the habits that you actually had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like it did that for me too. I do realize that I habit stack some, like when I'm brushing my teeth and blow drying my hair. I've started doing some balance exercises, like standing on one foot or even doing some squats or something. I'm like, I'm going to do this anyway. So
it's a good idea. Absolutely. And on the book jacket, it says, no matter your goals, Atomic Habits offer a proven framework for getting 1% better every day.
Nice. So in the beginning.
Yeah, the beginning, sad. So we learned that at the end of his sophomore year in high school, James was hit in the face with a baseball bat, and he was placed in a medically induced coma and was on a ventilator.
As a parent, that was so hard to read.
But that was hard.
Of it, yeah.
Yeah. What was the worst part of it?
Well, he had a younger sister, a baby sister, who had also been in the same hospital. He said his family, they weren't strangers to the hospital because she had been there previously at 3 years old battling leukemia.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So his parents had 2 children in the same hospital at different times and
clinging to their lives.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
It really hooked me, but I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not what I expected out of this book. But he was just giving us his backstory, which is pretty amazing.
He was, and I had my boys in the car who are old enough to hear it, but they were both like, I'm not sure if this is the book I want to listen to. Mom, this is gruesome.
Yeah.
He talks about his long recovery and his return to baseball, which was thanks to his very good habits, which makes sense because this book is about habits and how to create them.
He developed some of these systems and studied habits and how they affect people. And so now we have this wonderful book.
I feel like I'm always trying to get organized and put my life where it's supposed to be. And so we're always trying to make sure that our schedule is working, and we are busy. If that schedule is not working for us, then we need to find a new solution. So I was excited for Atomic Habits, and we pulled several things from it.
Well, good. Very good.
He talked about how you shouldn't set your goals to be like how many books to read. He says you should just want to be a reader, or the goal shouldn't be let's run a marathon. Your goal should be to be the runner. And I like that. I thought that was good. And how he started with the
tying your shoes.
Yes, the tying of the shoes. That's your first step. And then with each day, you get 1% better.
Right. I think it was talking about, like, if you want to start going to the gym, go to the gym for 5 minutes and then go home. And I thought, what a waste of your time. I was so like, I would not do that. But, oh, I'm here, I might as well do this. Oh, I'm here, I might as well do this. But they had some like athletes in there of how to get better, and they fixed little things, like they fixed their mattresses.
Yeah.
They fixed, the shorts they were wearing.
Right. That's the cyclists.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like with athletes and stuff, they were changing different like little tiny things that over the course of 10 years?
Made a huge difference.
Yeah. So
huge. Yeah. A couple of the things that I took from the book was when it talked about taking a habit that you enjoy and pairing it with something that you don't enjoy. So it made me think about, like, if I listen to audiobooks and I'm cleaning, that kind of pairs those and I'm getting both done.
Yeah, which is mine is in the morning when I'm making my pot of coffee. I will unload my dishwasher. And, so I start fresh with that. And then I'm able to sit down with my cup of coffee and relax.
Did you pick a paragraph, either of you, to read?
I did not this time.
I picked several lines. Mind if I read?
Oh, we would love that.
Okay. They're not full paragraphs, but they're just parts of it that spoke to me. And so the first one says, if you're continually putting happiness off until the next milestone, it is always something for your future self to enjoy. When you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy, which I really like that one.
That's a good one.
The other one was habits do not restrict freedom, they create it. In fact, the people who don't have their habits handled are often the ones with the least amount of freedom. Without good financial habits, you will always be struggling to the next dollar. Without good health habits, you will always seem to be short on energy. Without good learning habits, you will always feel like you're behind the curve. So I put discipline equals freedom next to that one whenever I annotated it because it really connected to what we talk about with Jocko Willink and his way of the warrior kid that we do with our boys.
So, and I remember that one specifically. I highlighted that as well.
It was a good one.
My paragraph says, all big things come from small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. But as that decision is repeated, a habit sprouts and grows stronger. Roots entrench themselves and branches grow. The task of breaking a bad habit is like uprooting a powerful oak within us. And the task of building a good habit is like cultivating a delicate flower one day at a time.
Nice.
It's a very visual quote.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I do have one. I went back to my highlights, and this was talking about why genes matter and your talents that come naturally to you. And this was on page 226, and it says, boiling water will soften a potato but harden an egg. You can't control whether you're a potato or an egg, but you can decide to play a game where it is better to be hard or soft. And then on the next page, he says, play a game that favors your strengths. If you can't find a game that favors you, create one. So
That's a good one.
I liked those.
I also loved when he talked about the resetting of a room. I like that a lot. It's not simply cleaning up after yourself before you leave a room. It's preparing for the next time you use the space. So I liked that part.
I think that's fun. And you say you do that with your students.
I do. I tell them to reset the classroom the way it looked at the beginning of the day.
It gives them ownership.
I agree.
I think it's great. Did either of you create new habits because of this book?
I have not created new habits yet, but there were some things on tracking habits that I really thought is going to work well for me, for my brain. And like I already do, I track reading.
I do as well.
Yeah.
And having a partner too. You and I we
have an accountability partner.
We do with reading, but I need an accountability partner for my physical strength.
Yeah.
Like, Lainey, did you walk today?
We can do that.
We should do that.
Should. I'm fortunate enough because my accountability partner for working out is my husband. And so he's very into making sure that we are on track with our habits. So
I love that.
I'm so thankful for him. So we lift 3 times a week and he makes sure we wake up for that. And then in this, post-wrestling season, at least we're at jiu-jitsu 4 times a week almost.
That's amazing.
It's always real fun.
Oh, I did have something that I wanted to ask you, Lainey.
Okay.
So as a teacher for how many years?
29, I think.
Yeah. So you're pushing 30 years
Yes.
as a teacher. And he said that the school teacher who ignores innovative teaching methods and sticks to her tried and true lessons plans. I wondered if you felt attacked.
I did not feel attacked, but I did feel he knew me.
Yeah. I feel same.
But what she does works. Those
I
kids
know.
eat up every
I know.
word. And so why change what's not
That's
broken? We're always looking to be better. But
Right.
if it's not better what I'm doing, why would I change it?
Right. Absolutely.
I'm not a huge fan of self-help, I found, but I did like this book. I'm glad we read it. I can't wait to hear what the Facebook group has to say about it. I hope they join in the conversation and put their little 2 bits in there.
Right. So we hope that our listeners will either join that Facebook group and join in some conversations there, or maybe you can send us an email. We would love to hear from you.
Yes, we would. Well, Melissa, thank you for coming twice.
So sorry that you had
Such a trooper.
difficulties.
Well, we have a lot to look forward to in 2025. We have some really cool things coming, and we did get the new equipment so that we could do those cool things. So
I'm good. I'm happy for you guys. I'm glad you're on this new journey together and you can learn. So it's fun. Thanks for inviting me and including me.
we love having you here.
You do.
And we have a book coming soon, our next book,
Yep, for January.
The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. So if you're reading with us, that's our next pick.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us today. We are so happy that you were here. Until next time, I'm Leisha.
And I'm Lainey.
And I'm Melissa.
And keep those bookmarks busy.